And they're blaming me for being late. Hey
Uh,
guys.
Tell them I had an issue.
Hey guys, how are you? Happy Monday. Sorry about that. Really, really sorry about that. We just had something we needed to speak about that we couldn't talk about at the moment. And we don't know if we're going to talk about it. It's a little personal, but it just came up. So sorry about that. My apologies. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Monday. So, how was your weekend, or how was your week from last Monday?
Oh, me? Everything's always the same. No big surprises.
Right.
So
Has anybody reached out to you from here? Have you gotten any emails or anybody reaching out to you and
um,
trying to get some help or anything like that?
no, I was hoping that I did. I really, like I mean it when I say if someone needs something to let me know, even if it's just somebody to talk to. I would love to talk to anyone, but no one yet. And, maybe we're just not reaching that person that needs help yet, or maybe they're just not ready to say they need help yet.
That's a good way to look at it for sure.
I'm
There
hopeful.
was, I'm sorry, there was somebody that was going to join us, I thought, and I did send them uh an invite like I sent you yesterday. So but I hadn't heard from them, and they did seem interested, but I don't see anything from them here at all.
Maybe
So
something came up.
yeah, well, yeah, possibly. Who knows? Who knows? Um, so I know that, Easter, which was last Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, is a rough time, especially for people in addiction. Because holidays are a rough time, aren't they?
Yeah. I think
And
for anyone dealing with a lot of issues, any issue,
yeah, I
holiday.
mean, it could even be a divorce, the first year that somebody's divorced,
Yeah.
or the first year that somebody doesn't get their child for that holiday because of a divorce or a
Yeah.
separation, or God forbid, in the case of somebody that's unalived and no longer with us.
Right.
So holidays are tough, and I think that a lot of people, go ahead and find it hard to stay sober. They find it hard to stay sober during the holidays for sure. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I think it's a very difficult time for anyone struggling with addiction because I always bring up an episode that happened, with my son Gino. It would be something as simple as McDonald's getting his order wrong, believe it or not.
Right.
And that could ruin his whole day. And I mean, I think an addict is going to use no matter what if they want to use, but something like that can set them off. So imagine a holiday, you're feeling, oh, well, I should be with my family, but I can't, or I should be,
Right.
I'm just going to go get high and I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm sure, holidays suck. For,
Yeah, they do. I've had a few good ones, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. They're hard. They're hard, especially when when things aren't right in our world at that
right,
time. Things
exactly.
definitely are. So, what do you think? So, do we have anybody that's thanks, misbehaving in Florida? She'd rather be sleeping. I know that we have people. I We don't take attendance, but we like that you're here. Um, so do we have anybody in the chat that wants to come and talk or say anything? Or I'm glad that you guys look forward to this, Kathleen. That means a lot. Does anybody want to come and say anything? When somebody is, you know, somebody who's gotten a few years cleaner and they find themselves antsy and stuff like that, like, and I know that when at the rehab, so when we did the rehab, we took kids that they weren't supposed to be detoxing. You know what I'm saying? Like their detox time was over and we got them like the day after. So they're still wackadoodle in their mind. The detox thing was just so that they weren't going to die from it. Didn't even mean that they weren't going to be sick anymore. It just meant that they were clear not to die from, being without their drug. So when we did the program, we did it from beginning to end, right? So there was there was a beginning of when they first got to the program, and then sorry about that. And then, after they've gotten in the program and started to progress. And what I found that stopped them in their progression was the behavior that goes with the addiction, the stinking thinking behavior, the always trying to get one over. There was a guy, I need to turn this fan on. Hang on a sec. It's warm outside. So it was, I turned the air on instead. So it was the stinking thinking behind, like if that dope, we call it dope fiend behavior. If that dope fiend, and I saw it a lot of times. Remember, I would say they'd have counselors come in, and sometimes the counselors might be a year clean, maybe a year clean, because they believe in giving people, the second chance, but not really in giving them the time to go for it. So that a lot of times, they would relapse, unfortunately. But because of the temptation all the time and the talking about it and stuff, they think that their head's at where their head's at. And back in the day, before COVID, like people weren't so desperate about hiring people. So, they could be a little more choosier than they are today, where everybody seems to need help. There's help wanted everywhere. So people will take people that, might have been in trouble with the law because of drugs or something like that.
Right.
A lot easier today. So I had a guy that I worked with, and this is a really sad story, but it's a true story. And from my understanding, back in the day, he was a full-blown H user, right? So full-blown. And he actually ended up getting a street girl pregnant. And they ended up having a kid together, a couple kids together. And he, got himself clean, and he got himself clean for a really, really long time. But the dope fiend behavior never went anywhere. So when I came into this person's life, I was working at the rehab. He had worked at the rehab, but had since gone full time at a state prison in New York, and had come back to the rehab just to do some overnight shifts or some 3 to 11 shifts, just for some extra hours and such. But he still had that really messed up dope fiend behavior that you could just sense, like alarms would go off. And he ended up, we would always write in the logbook about things that would happen, like so that we could go back to it, right? And I was really good about writing in the logbook. Of course, back then I was a writer, so yeah, give me more. So I was really good at writing stuff, and he was not so much. But he said that he had like written something to me about something that had happened, and it didn't. That was untrue. And you could tell by the way he wrote it in between lines. Like it wasn't something added on, obviously, or added in, but he said he wrote it at the time. Anyway, that wasn't true. But I ended up getting in trouble for that. It was a fucked up place that I worked at. And nothing happened to him. We had some petty cash, right? Like maybe a little bit, maybe $100 worth of petty cash. I think there was $2.50 something cents missing. He got fired over that.
Wow.
over $2.53, I think it was. But the thing is the reason why he started coming back to work there was because he had already started using again. So his dope fiend behavior, all of those red flags and signs were things that absolutely should have been known by the people that ran the facility and the people that actually had like a doctorate degree. So so there's two things in this. Two things in saying, yeah, the dope fiend behavior is like something you got to really pay attention to. And where are we sending our kids? Just like you had said about, where Gino went. You know what I mean? Like, was it so much the counseling he got, or was it where he was at? Because I would think that kind of goes hand in hand. And not only that, but you better give some pretty damn good counseling if right outside your door, and right outside the door, whether it's there physically or not, is always temptation.
Right.
I mean, if you want to use, it's always going to be temptation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I find that a lot of the facilities that we sent Gino to were in bad areas, I guess, if that's what you want to say. And I guess there's a reason for that. Maybe they're not allowed to be in what we would consider good areas.
Although there's some really expensive facilities that are in really nice places. You know what I'm saying?
I found that, then again, I guess it depends on the person too. If they want to go get it, they're going to go get it. If they have to walk 10 miles, they're going to go get it. So
exactly.
It was just a lot of these places though, we see this nice picture on the brochure. So they take our insurance. Let's send them here. And then you go there and you're almost afraid to get out of your car. Is the car going to get stolen while I'm in here? Am I going to get robbed on the way? It was
right.
They're not always in nice places. And, I just, I think I told you at some point years back, I just said to Gino, you know what, you can do this. You have to do it. Right. I'm here, but I can no longer make the calls and get you into detox or get you into rehab. You're on your own now. And that's when he got clean.
Right.
His dad had pretty much written him off before he was even born anyway. He was present as a father, but it was more like, here's the checkbook, do what you got to do kind of father, not a hands-on father. And so he really wasn't so involved, which I think was a big trigger for Gino. It was very bothersome for his father not to ever be proud of him or accept him for what he was, or, but, so when I said to Gino, like, you got to just do it. Like, I can't do it for you. And we kind of I was always there. If something happened, he knew he could call me. We talked every day. I would just avoid that part of his life. I didn't want to know. I could tell by his voice if he was using. And I would say to him, gee, I can't talk to you right now. Because I just,
right.
His voice had this tone when he was under the influence and I couldn't stand it. So I would say to him, I have to go now. And he understood, I think. Why.
Right.
And he just all of a sudden, we were up on 2 years, he was clean, and I was so proud. And, then everything happened. So it's, that's just my story. I'm sure everybody has one just like it, but.
So how many rehabs did Gino go?
Geez, I want to say he went back to the same one several times. I don't know why we did that. And I would say in total, probably maybe 7 different rehabs.
Wow.
But he went several times to each one.
Wow.
Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't stick. I mean, that it's really not uncommon. You know, what's uncommon is when somebody goes one time and they're successful, and it makes you wonder, not for any other reason, like why them and why not them. Like, did one of them just abuse drugs, or you know what I, which is bad.
Right.
But I think there's just two totally different ways of approaching things, whether
Right.
somebody is a drug addict or somebody is a drugs abuser. And I know that we've had this conversation. Gutter Snipe says 7 times is average
Mm.
for people. I'd have to agree with that. Let's go as addicted. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I left my state when I was younger because of drugs. I just thought it would be easier for me to, and I wanted to. I mean, I still had friends that would dabble, some with better control than me, some not, you know. So, I mean, I, again, it's everybody's
Well, they say
got to
change
work
people,
for
places,
everybody.
and things, right? Isn't that one of
Yes,
the things
yes,
they tell
yeah,
you?
yeah.
And, that may work for some, and for others who still want to do what they were doing, they'll find it. And they'll find you
Exactly.
places and
But it
things.
didn't, now that I think about it, I would say that that is a big part of it, because I know somebody that has I know somebody that has, this is interesting. I know somebody that has been through several rehabs, and they do so well when they're out of the state that they used in, and how much they decline, and so quickly when they come back to the state, you know, that
Right.
they were using. And I have trouble talking to my sister when she drinks. Don't talk to her. I I can't stand dealing with drunks. I'm sorry. And
I just real quick want to chime into this. I
okay,
was just telling somebody the other day that I have a certain somebody that calls me from time to time when they're drinking. And
right.
as we're having the 2 hour long conversation, I can hear the ice in the glass clinking and their whole demeanor changing steadily through the conversation. And I can't stand it. I've dealt with a few alcoholics in my life, and I said I would never put myself through that again. I can't stand the way they talk. They repeat themselves. They lie. The first story could be I caught a fish that was 6 inches, and an hour later
Well,
it was
that's a fisherman's
6 feet
lie, though. That
long.
doesn't even
Well,
depend on being
I'm
drunk.
just
That
trying to
one.
give you the
Yeah.
concept of their lies. Like
Right. Right.
it's just, I can't, because I've had bad experiences with a few alcoholics. I just won't put myself through it. I have to hang up and I can't listen, sort of like I was with Gino when he was under the influence. I can't stand it and I just won't do it to myself. But I get that talking to someone under the influence of drinking or
Well,
drugs.
not just that, but that's annoying. Yeah, 1000%. But then sometimes alcohol fuels anger. And now you're dealing with somebody who's belligerent, who is 180 degrees different than the sober person.
Right.
That's what happened to me when I thought that I was buying a piece of land from somebody. And I was so ignorant. I was after I was a drugs counselor and everything. I just didn't see the sign. I was just buying land, buying from somebody that bought a house from me. And then when I got there, it's like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking drunk. Like this guy. So, I mean, it's just a totally different, you know, and I personally can't deal with it. I don't want to. One of my best friends is a bartender. She was a bartender. She's old like me now, a little older, but um she's not a bartender anymore. But she was saying, I could never be a bartender now. I have no patience for the drunks. I have nothing for um you know what I'm saying? Like she just could never do that. Could never ever do that. You know? Nobody should be embarrassed or anything. That I missed something here. I must have wait. I must wait. Must have wasted so many people's hours and no, I mean getting yourself sober, it's a process. You should never be that way. Um
So Toddy, I'm wondering if we can ask anybody here if they're in recovery or going through something. Does anybody want to share anything? I mean, they don't have to, but I'm just wondering if they want to talk about it, even if it's in the chat. They don't have to come on live, but if anyone is willing.
That's true that alcohol can kill you from detox. So can Valium. Yeah. So is there anybody that wants to even, I can drop a link. You guys can come on. The only thing I ask is that, your story be true and be kind. And that's all I ask. Or if anybody still wants to just talk in the chat and we can go from there, that's fine. Benzos, that's like Valium. So if anybody wants to, just let me know. Morning love from Canada. How you doing, Canada? I'll go ahead and drop and see. Maybe we'll get a fish. Maybe we'll get a fish here. We'll see. People are saying meth heads. I think, listen, I don't want to think that any drug is better than any other drug. We'll never quit. They already know amount of rehab. Okay. Would you like to speak from experience up here? Angry Carrot? Are you a redhead? I'm just asking. Klonopin, etc. I've heard about Klonopin. I didn't know that was something that you could get addicted to be honest with you. I honestly didn't know that.
I think you can get addicted to anything, honestly.
I didn't know that there was any kind of like side effect from that.
I don't know what it makes you feel like. I've never taken it, so I don't know. But
guys, tell us in the chat. Come on, we're having a conversation, guys. Let us know. We want to know.
Educate us.
Yeah, talk to us. Here, Trixie's saying helping them takes a lot of patience and love, sometimes more than we have. That is true.
Right.
That is true. We are tested. We are tested. That's what, how long? So that's a question because we've talked about this before too. How long until somebody gets their trust back? What does it take for people to regain their trust? Because I was an addict or addicted or abused for 5 years. They didn't even know until I was asked, and because my friend told on me and I told the truth. And I paid for that for about 15 years. So, I mean, I shouldn't have paid for it for longer than a few because I should have been believed. I was not a liar. So, how long until, so Amy's saying forever, you never trust anybody again?
My experience was, unfortunately, because of what Gino put me through, I even question my other children who are not addicts. My youngest still lives at home. She's 26. And if she's not home by a certain time, oh my gosh, I try to stop myself, but I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you? Who are you with? Are you drinking? Are you doing any drugs? I am so paranoid and it's so unfair to her. And I try not to do it. Like I pick up my phone and I put it back down and but you can't help it. And with Gino being sober 2 years, I'm trying to explain this. I was confident that he was sober and he could do this, but I still was always wondering, is he going to do something tonight? If he had a bad day at work, is it going to, and I never knew if I could trust him. I don't think you ever really get that trust back. I mean, you kind of, maybe you don't say things openly to them anymore, but you're still watching and waiting. behind the scenes. You know what? Like that's my experience. I mean, maybe others, I don't know, but that's been my experience.
Well, in all fairness, you only had 2 years with Gino. You
Right.
know, had he have been around for 7 or 8, maybe that would have diminished. But you didn't really have. You
No.
had so many years of active addiction and active heartache and everything, and you had so much going on at the time as it was.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I think that um so maybe we look around the room or car. You don't need to trust, just love and protect. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. To them, they need that, especially if they're true about their sobriety, because that's a milestone for them to get the trust back, is something that addicts actively, those in recovery and are really trying for the sobriety, their tune starts changing. They start saying, I feel bad that my mom's got to help me get through this one last rehab. I feel bad that I can't afford this medication that is going to help me stay clean, or is going to help me with the pain of it. They start thinking more about the people and how it affects them. I've seen that consistently. I've seen that happen in front of my eyes. That change occur in front of my eyes as a counselor, and and also as somebody who has people in their life, and and then I've seen the result of that, and then I've seen the people that have had the continued thinking, and I know nothing's going to change. The arrogance is still there, and I could say, yeah, maybe they're not using right now. Unfortunately, the behavior, the attitude hasn't gone anywhere. That's still there. And when that is still there, and that getting over, it's always getting over on somebody. How do I get something for less than what it was? How do I get something without somebody seeing it? How do I get what they got? And that whole fucked up mindset will get you in trouble. And people don't realize that. But that behavior has got to change. They have to humble themselves. And that's what NA does. It makes you realize you're not any more special than anybody else. Everybody's got problems. If you look around, somebody's going to have more problems than you. Somebody's going to have less problems than you. That's the way it is. It is not, you are not special to this addiction. It isn't, it will hit anybody. It is like a tornado.
It does not discriminate.
It does not discriminate against anything or anybody. So, and you have to humble yourself to realize that. And a lot of people will still have, I know somebody who is, I know that they're sober, but they still have that most fucked up attitude.
Yeah.
And, that's not going to get them anywhere except make people think that they're an asshole, right? And then they've learned nothing. So when they're put back in that environment, it becomes a perfect storm to use again,
Toddy, I just want to shout out to Little G in the chat. Clean for 15 years. That's wonderful.
That's cool. Where is that?
It was earlier on. I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget.
Oh, okay.
I forget things.
I wish I would have put it up there.
Yeah, now I saw it a little bit back, and I just wrote it down so I'd remembered it. I think it was worth mentioning.
Well, congratulations. Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wonderful.
So here's somebody saying 12 steps saved my life. So absolutely great. Yeah, they're having whole conversations in here about people and such. Anybody that wants to come up, please let me know. I would love anybody who wants to come up here and share their story or advice.
I'm so Toddy, I know I keep interrupting you. I can't hear, I can't see. I'm falling apart. I'm so happy that you allow me to come on here with you on Mondays, and we can sit here and talk, but it makes me even more happy that the members are chatting, and maybe they'll connect with somebody that can
They connect
help
with each other
somebody.
a lot of times.
Yes, and that's what we're here for. Maybe they're not going to reach out to you or me, but just to each other, and that's okay. That's why we're doing it. That's what
Yeah.
we're here for.
And I do have an active Facebook that Holly Jolly had started. So you guys could, I mean, if there was a reason why you guys weren't sure about giving each other's phone numbers out and stuff like that, I'm sure that you guys could DM each other on through that, through the Facebook page if you want to do that. That's what it's there for you guys to continue on with your conversations. I get on there. I try to get on there at least once a week and look at stuff. I don't always succeed, but it's really there for you guys more so. So, but
And
anyway,
I'll just put it out there again. I'm more available than Toddy. She actually has a life and a job and stuff. I'm around if anybody, I don't claim to know everything. I'm not trained in any particular thing about addiction or any life whatever's, but I've been through a lot. I've dealt with a lot, and I can talk to you. If nothing else, I can help you find the
it's a
resources.
safe place.
Yeah,
It's a safe place.
and I'm not going to repeat it to anybody. It's going to be safe with me. It'll just be a conversation between me and you, whoever, I'm here. I can share with you what I went through as a mother, a grandmother, I'm here, and I mean that. If anybody ever wants to reach out, they can find me on Facebook. They can email me. I'm not going to give out my phone number because that gets a little creepy sometimes, but
Right.
I'm available in other ways if anybody wants to reach out.
Punk Rock Girl 54, congratulations. Would you like to come up and tell us your story? You don't have to, but if you'd like to, it might matter to others. It's up to you. Don't feel obligated, and please don't run off. You don't
And
have
they don't
to.
have to show their face, right? If they want to
No,
talk, they can just
absolutely.
talk.
No,
So
they don't have to show their face. They could do, wait a minute, let me do it. Hang on, I'm trying to do it. They could do that.
yeah, because a lot of people may not want to show their face,
Of
but
course
maybe they'll
not.
talk.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, I hate that
Absolutely.
I'm on here, but people have gotten so used to seeing this that I don't care anymore. It's whatever.
Being raised by people that struggle addiction, I have go through a lot. Counseling to break these cycles and patterns. Yes, you do. Yes, you do when you have people like that. Carissa, how are you? Haven't seen you in a minute. And yes, and it's Rebecca Micciolo. What's the email address, Rebecca?
Rebecca Micciolo3 at Gmail.
That's Rebecca Micciolo3 at Gmail. So if you'll excuse me for a second, my mom's groceries have arrived. I just want to call and let her know that. So hang
I'm
on one
just going to
second.
keep talking.
No, please do. Please.
Anybody, if you don't want to email, you can find me on Facebook. It's Rebecca Loudon Micciolo, or you can look me up on Justice for Corey if you want to go through there and leave a message. I check that a million times a day. I'm on Facebook. I'm available. I check my email all day, all night. I don't sleep. So I'm always here. If anybody wants to reach out for anything, just somebody to talk to. If you're feeling like, you know, you need to go use and you don't want to, and you just need somebody to talk you out of it or something, I mean, call me. Or if you want to get help and you're not sure where to go and how to do it, call me. I'll find the resources with you. We'll do it together. Don't be embarrassed. I'm not going to tell anybody. It won't be talked about, on a future show. We won't talk about you. Just reach out. It'll be just between us. There's no shame in asking for help. I just, someone had mentioned before, growing up or being raised by maybe alcoholics or addicts and, excuse me, having to go through counseling or something. I feel like a lot of times if you grow up in a family where the parents maybe are alcoholics or, addicts of some type, the kids tend to not end up like that a lot of times because they see what their parents went through and they don't want to do that. And it's my situation was we didn't drink in the home, we didn't do drugs, and I still ended up with, my son becoming an addict. And that's not behavior he learned at home because we avoided even drinking in front of our kids. We would go out to have drinks on a Friday night, but we didn't do it at home. And it's just funny because I know other people who had addiction issues and their kids grew up perfect, straight, no issues at all, and here I'm the person who avoided doing all these bad things in front of I never did drugs at all, but we didn't drink in front of our kids, didn't do anything in front of them. And then, it's so funny how it happens. You think if you do all the right things, your kid's going to grow up to be perfect, and it doesn't happen. That's just my experience.
What I've come to realize is that, it's not so much about that. It's when people they use to make themselves feel better. It's what they use for.
Right.
Just like when they're given pain medicine, it's to take them out of the pain that they're in, to make life bearable. And
Right.
when their pain is not in existence and they got that little bit of dopamine that hits and they say, man, my life looks better, feels better this way. But when so that's one way people could get into addiction, right? Into the introduction of drug use. And then there's people that their life hurts for whatever reason. And usually it's because of what's happened in their childhood, whether it be by their parents or whether it be by a sibling or whether it be by a horrible experience.
Right.
But they start looking for something to make themselves feel better. And before they know it, they've got this problem. But I don't think, and we're going to have a disagreement, and I get it. I totally get it. But I myself have seen firsthand, and it has touched me firsthand to know that there are young adults and adults that are full-blown addicts and their parents never touched it. Now I know for 100%, but here's what I also know. Those kids never physical abuse, but emotional.
Right.
Things still lacking in their life. And that's what made them feel better.
Right.
So I don't think that it's just a cookie cutter thing. I think that, yes, there is something in DNA, but then there are things that are not in DNA.
Right.
And they are just, and listen, I have there's 4 of us. And 2 of us have had the wonderful experience of DRUGS, and 2 of us have not. All 4 of us have never been drinkers. You know what I'm saying? But, and then my dad had 3 brothers. One of them was a full-blown alcoholic. The other 3, my dad had wine at dinner, a glass. You know what I mean? Like none of them drinkers. So how do you explain that? I think honestly, it's somebody is hurting, and instead of finding out, it's hard to talk about our feelings because once we're hurt, we're vulnerable. We don't want to get hurt again. You know what I'm saying? So we often do things behind other people's backs because we feel safer,
Right.
And so then we find something in the medicine cabinet, or we find something like a joint or something. And it all is the one thing that I could say all these people have in common is they wanted to feel better. Would anybody agree? Does anybody have anything to say? When I talk like that, I can't look at the comments because I will totally lose my train of thought, and I'm not trying to do that. So that's about you, Rebecca Micciolo. Can you read that or no?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you for saying that. That's what I want to do. Like I said, I want to help if I can. I have no formal training in any of
We
this,
need to
but
get you a YouTube channel, lady.
I'm working on it. I got to move first. I'm working on that. There's a lot coming up for me, a lot going on.
I'm moving too. I'm moving I'm moving around the third week of May.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, I bought a trailer. I should say I bought a
Mhm.
camper. It's more of a camper. It's really not, it's 30 feet. It's got 2 small bedrooms. Um, but I can't deal with somebody over my head. I didn't want to buy anything because I don't want to live here. You know
You
what I
want
mean?
to be
Like,
able to get up and go somewhere else if
well,
you
the
feel
thing
like
is,
it.
I'm only here for another 3 years till I can retire. So why am I going to buy something
Right.
that's overpriced right now and might not even give me my money back in 3 years?
No, you're absolutely
You know what I'm saying? But yet I don't want to be in an apartment and I don't want to rent something because the rent is so astronomical that I won't be able to save anything. So it
I know.
just made sense to me to buy something that we could live in. We're going to be on somebody's property,
Yeah.
and I could afford the payments on it and the lot rent, you know, the rent, and then I can still save money. And if I decide that I want to take it in 3 years, you know, then I can take it or I can sell it. But it still ended up being cheaper and it gives me more freedom than.
That's
So
right.
that's what, you know, I've decided to do. It
I
was,
think that's wonderful.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
we
It's a lot
had
more money than I thought it was, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. You know, it is what it is.
when
I'm
I was
grateful.
married. I was married to my first husband. We always had a motorhome, a camper. You know, we've had the ones that you drive, the Class A, Class C.
This one's not that. This is the one
But
that you pull, but it's not a fifth wheel.
right. But I was going to say though, some of them were nicer than my house. I mean, you know, they were beautiful, and it was you felt like you were at home. We'd get to
Right.
the campsite and you'd slide out these rooms. It was huge, and I wouldn't mind doing that in the near future. I'm not ready for that yet. I have a mission. I bought this house, and
Right, right. We're
I
excited for you.
I'm very excited. My oldest son and my youngest daughter live back at home. And so I kind of wanted to get this house because, first of all, I fell in love with it. And I think it's going to bring me peace. And it was also for everybody else's future. I'm setting everybody up because eventually I don't plan to be here anymore, like all of us. We're not going to be here forever. So I'm just setting the kids up, and they'll have something. And, but in the next 10 years, I'd like to just get in a travel trailer, and just drive and just, all right, I want to park here tonight and stay here for a week, or, that's what I
Right.
like to do. That would clear my head. I think I would feel so much better if I could
Right.
just go out and see things. So that's what I would like to do.
I think that what I have is too big for me to do that on my own because that's 30 feet behind me. So if anything, I would move it somewhere else if I wasn't going to stay in this area, and then I would leave it there.
Right.
Maybe in a climate where I wouldn't have to worry so much and I could keep it year round in a campground, a nice campground.
Right.
Because
Right.
I really want to leave the country anyway. But also, I have 2 dogs, which limits me to a lot. And Milo, you know, he's an old guy and he's a
Yeah.
boxer, old guy. So, I mean, I don't know how much longer I'm going to have that little man for. I pray for a really long time, but I don't know. And Danny's, you know, she's a younger dog. She's only 3 years old. I think she's 4. I think I decided her birthday was May 1st because that's when I got her.
Oh, that's
So
Corey's birthday. It's your birthday.
that's cool. Then I picked a good one because I think I got her around May 1st. So anyway, and I want to say she was 2 or 3. So I don't know. I guess she's 3 or 4. The rescue dog, but I mean, so, but I think I think I would like to, if I stay in this country, I think I would like to leave this state, even for taxes alone. That's my problem here is taxes alone,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then go to a more of a southern state to where I could keep it year round. And if I was going to stay in this country, then I think I would like to buy one of those truck campers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'd have to have a truck anyway to pull the mobile. I mean, this
Right.
thing, right? So then if I had a truck camper, then, when the time comes and we want to travel the country, Danny and I would do okay in that. I
Right.
think we'd be fine in that. And I wouldn't have to worry about having to get it into parking places and such.
Right. Our
Okay.
first camper was a truck camper, so you'd be surprised at the room in there.
I
They
know there's
really,
some beautiful ones. There's some beautiful ones. They're not cheap. Everything is more than, but I wanted to get this before the tariffs take effects, and also before it got warm enough where people are really starting to look to buy them. In just a week, like when I went there to Campers World, when I went there, there was hardly anybody there. The next week, man, it was crazy. It
right.
was absolutely crazy with all the people there. But it is more than I thought. They got me on interest. I don't even want to talk about that, but I didn't have the greatest credit.
Yeah.
But a little sneaky the way that they did that. But it's mine, and as long as I take care of it, there's a roof over our head and a safe place for us, and that's more important than anything to me. And nobody could pull and take it. I pray, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but anyway, kind of lost everything here. Bye. I'm sorry, Milk Honey and Mayhem. We did. What's uncomfortable? Terrible. Imagine your mom wouldn't hear you if you tried to tell her. Where'd we miss something here? Did we drop the ball? Thank you so much, Carissa. That was very kind of you. Very, very kind of you. Does anybody want to get up on here and tell us what's going on down there?
I feel like we missed out a little bit.
I'm sorry about that, guys. We're just having a conversation. My bad. I'm really sorry. So wait a minute. Who are we talking about here? Who are we talking about? Watch them say they're worried about me and my trailer. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. I want to know should we be worried about somebody, and I'm not trying to call anybody out. I just would like to be here, and Rebecca would like to be here. You could reach us on our emails, RebeccaMicciolo3@gmail.com. I think they're worried about me.
With the camper, you'll be fine.
I'm not worried about me with the camera. I really thought that they were, but I don't think who they're talking about. I don't think you in a camper, because Gypsy has easier access to me. They're being funny.
Someone just sent me. I
What?
just got a private message. Somebody would like to come on and
Okay.
chat, but she's not sure how to do it. Did we put the link before that they could click on?
Yeah, but before they do that, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link. And what you would do, that person would click on the link. That person would click on the link right here.
All right, let me let them know how to do this. It's somebody I know, so.
Okay. Okay. So I have the link up here in the bio under my face, under my picture. Toddy finger red #1. I don't get that. What's up with that? I think they're picking on me and making fun of my home. I expected Bree to call me trailer trash, guys.
All right, hopefully.
Hi, Christine. How you doing? So the thing is right here. Can you see it? Can you see me doing that on the screen?
I see it.
No, you see me circling that? Guys in the chat, do you see me circling my name and the address? Guys in the chat. I'm taking care of my foster cats and listening to you. Thank you, Kathleen. So in other words, you're not looking. Anybody looking? Hello? Anyway, no, okay, so they can't see me doing that. But anyway, okay, but you don't see my new digs yet. I haven't moved yet. Excuse me.
When are you doing the move, Toddy? Did you say?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they're going to bring it on May 22nd. The person that was supposed to be there to help me isn't going to be off that day. So I'm actually going to go by Camper World and talk to somebody because there's a few things that I want to get anyway.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so thank you, Kathleen. That's very nice of you, Kathleen. And thank you. I appreciate that. I just don't want anybody over my head. Like, I can't stand that. I can't, it drives me crazy. I'm super sensitive to it.
Yeah.
You know, I see a link, but no circles. What do you mean? I don't know what that means. What do you mean, no circles? Is this who it is, Miss Behaven? Are you trying to get on?
I don't think that's the person I know. No.
Okay. Well, go ahead and put this up here again. So what they do is they click on the link and then they should be able to thank you guys who's ever like donating. I'm sorry that went past me quick. Thank you. They should be able to just click on that. The link should take them to, and if they don't want to show their face and stuff, they should look at that. Like stop cam would be the thing to not show their face. I fell in love with the part of Louisville called Portland. Always happy to see Toddy live in the Amy. We do this every Monday, and it's good to see you, Amy Danny's. I fell in love with the part of Louisville called Portland. I was just there buying Diet Pepsi. This is the Diet Pepsi addiction drinker.
Oh.
I don't think that's really what we have one that's named that, but this isn't that person.
Oh, okay.
I think there's people that just are addicted to that. I don't drink a lot of soda. I like these San Pellegrino. I guess it's soda. It's soda and it's sweet. You know what it tastes like? It tastes like bubble yum. Old school bubble yum.
Wow, really?
Yeah. But you got to buy this flavor. You got to buy the pomegranate orange.
Okay. I only drink water or coffee. When I tell everyone I'm hitting the hard stuff, that means I get a can of Coke. That's the hard stuff, or a Dr. Pepper for me. That's when I'm having a bad day and I got to have that. But I used to be hooked on Coca-Cola at McDonald's when the drinks were $1 any size.
Right.
I would get a large.
There's nothing better than a fountain Coke.
I know. I would get a large Coke in the morning and a large one in the evening. And then I realized, wow, I've gained about 45 pounds over the, a certain amount of time. Maybe it's the Coke, I'm thinking. And I gave it up. I also found out I had diabetes, so I had to kind of give it up. But I know addiction, not to any particular drug or alcohol, but to other things like food and
coffee,
Coca-Cola and my coffee. So I totally get it.
I'm not addicted to coffee.
I drink that all
Mexican day. Coke. I have not had Mexican Coke yet.
I never heard of it.
I've heard of it. There's this whole thing going on. There is Coke, but I've had Coca-Cola made with real sugar.
Oh.
So it's old time Coke, but I've had it made with real sugar. I was just bitching about the $1 any size sweet teas.
Did anybody try to get in the chat, Toddy? Do you see anybody?
No, there's nobody here. I promise you. I'll let you know. There's nobody. I keep it open so that I could check and see. We could put the link out again and go fishing.
I know she said she was going to whatever it's called to try to StreamYard, but I don't know if she got on.
Yeah, the only thing that she has to do, honestly, is click on that. She doesn't have to go to StreamYard. This will take you right to StreamYard, just like when you get on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Ooh, pickle flavored sunflower seeds. You know, there's a guy I work with, no lie, and he's addicted. I get all flavored sunflower seeds. It's funny that you did that. Like, I got the Takis sunflower. I bought all different flavored sunflower seeds, and this guy at work loves them, and I stopped eating them. I don't know why, but I'm gonna try these. I'm gonna try these. I think he's got pickled salsa flavored ones there now. I don't know. Weird. Pickle flavored cheese puff the other day. A pickled flavored cheese puff the other day? Yeah, what's up with that? This is a big one right here. I do want to talk about this. This isn't the place, but I do want to talk about the Virginia Giuffre issue. You know who she is?
Isn't that the one that one of the accusers of I kind of know what you're talking about. I just can't think of the
Yeah,
name.
for the Andrew and yeah, Prince Andrew, one of the accusers from Prince Andrews. Yeah, she's the one. She got like $16 million. She just unfortunately, they said, unalived herself. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I did hear that. And
Yeah, I'm not sure that she actually unalived herself either, to be honest with you.
no, because
So there
weren't
is a
they
person named
saying,
Rachel. There is a person named Rachel that you can't see. Rachel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Why can't you see me?
Because I don't think you have the camera on.
Okay. Let me figure it out. I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry. We can hear you just fine. A lot of people don't like using the cameras, so it doesn't matter to me whether you use it or not. Is this your friend?
no,
No,
this isn't.
no, but hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
No, I actually, gosh, I wish I knew why you guys couldn't see me. Weird. Um, well, now I just don't even know how to talk. It's weird.
Don't worry about it.
Is it okay if I reset and then try to come in, back in?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So that's not your friend. This is somebody new.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. She posted a few years ago. I know that she posted a few years ago that she wouldn't. I do want to talk about that, guys. I'm not, you know, I don't know, kind of, I don't know. I don't think she unalived herself. So it kind of really doesn't apply to if she did, it kind of doesn't it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, doesn't it? Rebecca, question. Like if Virginia Giuffre honestly unalived herself, then I would say that absolutely goes hand in hand with what we're talking about as far as addiction and such like that and getting through the week and stuff, which is what we handle. But if she didn't, and if there's more to it than that, then it's definitely out of my wheelhouse. I don't know if we should talk about it or not. If
I just heard stories that she was not someone who was in that mindset. Like she had no intentions of harming herself, people were saying. So,
and it seemed like she went through like the worst part. Not that she ever gets over it, but it seems like maybe the worst was behind her, but maybe not. But she had kids. So like it doesn't make sense unless somebody was threatening her or something happened. Like I feel like she worked through there. Yeah, it never goes away. But it just seems like the timing's off for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, and if she says that she didn't intend to kill herself and if she ends up dead, someone did it, I think we should really investigate that, or the authorities should really look into that. I think that's a, good indication that she didn't do it.
Right. It's reminiscent of the Micah Miller case, where Micah supposedly unalived herself in a park, but they found like the husband was using coercive control. It happened in the Carolinas not that long ago. Excuse me. Danny, you all right, babe? My dog looks like what's going on, honey? What's going on, Potato? She's gotten so good. She's coming up with I don't think Epstein killed himself either. Just so happened that camera was off. Come on. Like I don't think he unalived himself. I think that was done for him as well.
I do too.
But he's somebody, he ruined a lot of people's lives. This young woman, I mean, like she was a hero, a survivor. That's what a survivor looks like, Gypsy. In case Gypsy's watching.
Started on that thing. Oh, Gypsy.
Gypsy, ahoy!
I just like to meet her and just shake her and say, "What are you doing?"
I'm sure many people have. It hasn't worked yet.
She had the ability to come out and be an advocate for others in a like situation. But then I thought, well, I guess she really couldn't because she was part of her situation. She could walk. She could get up. She didn't have to do this. She chose to keep doing it. I mean, when she was younger, I get it, but she was a full-grown adult. She could have just said, "Mom, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm not doing this anymore." But no, instead she plotted and then brought somebody else into it and ruined his life. Now he's in jail and she's out living life being a wannabe celebrity. Go figure. That's our justice system.
Well, you do know that it came out that during one of her procedures, she supposedly, and the doctors had said this to her, that she had a seizure and she was like paralyzed for a short period of time. And when she realized that she could start walking again and was able to walk again, she kept that from her mom.
I find that hard to believe.
I don't, because if she's already getting attention for what's going on with the micro deletion, that's legitimate. And she's getting more attention now because she can't walk. So now she could be carried and she can have a wheelchair. And that's Gypsy's lazy. You think that? I think that's something that's always been. So I think that she honestly kept it going longer but not as long as forever. You know what I mean? Like, I think a couple weeks, maybe a month at the most. And I'm sure her mom caught on if she didn't tell her. But I think that might have been the thing that kept it going, because it gave them we could keep going on this. I think it gave Gypsy what she wanted. And then when her mom found out, however, within that month period of time, that I think they just went with it.
Right.
But I think it was Gypsy that came up with that on her doggone own self. That was her brilliant plan. That one. I don't know what this says. She's a train wreck. I don't really want to look, but can't help listening to creators talk about her and her BS. I think that that's exactly the way Rebecca feels.
Yeah, I don't want to be one of those that log in to check her out because that just gives her more power, but I can't help it. Way before she was, in jail, whatever, they were showing how they got this home from Habitat for Humanity, whatever. And I was just like, oh, wow. And, the funny thing is, thinking back to those days, I just don't remember there being a father present. I didn't know Gypsy had a father. Obviously, she has a father, but you didn't hear about him. And now all of a sudden, she's in the spotlight and dear old dad is right there with his wife and new family, and they're a happy family. Well, where was he when all this was going on with his daughter?
And don't you find it peculiar that she doesn't have any resentment towards Rod or his new family? Like,
No.
how did that happen? Because she's so balanced and everything that of course she has to have resentment towards them. You know what I'm saying?
Because they're buying into her bullshit, she keeps them close. They're all for it. They're backing her 100%. And so she decided they were worth keeping around. And the resentment, we don't see that on film. I'm sure it's there. I'm sure.
Right. Well, this one said she had to fight for attention from the cat because her mom would love on the cat and then just look at her, jealous of their cat. Come on. Here's somebody saying, I hated my future stepmom. You know, you would be best buds with the person who destroyed your family. I just did a video on that. He should be her hero, but nope.
I just
Anyway.
wonder, with Gypsy's attitude and her jealousy over a cat, I can't imagine she's not jealous of a newborn baby that might be getting more attention than she gets.
She is not mommy material.
No, like I said to you in the past, I've commented that even when she's holding the baby, she reminds me of that aunt that decided she was never going to get married and have kids, but she comes over to see your baby and she's very stiff holding it. That's what Gypsy reminds me of, somebody who cannot bond with a child. They have no interest in children. And when she's holding that baby, that's kind of what I see. That's just my opinion.
I think a lot of people share that opinion.
Yeah.
I think an awful lot of people. I don't know where that lady went. What else can we talk about here? Really, this is supposed to be about certain things, but
we wander off topic a lot.
We do, but we are here for the addiction and strength and sobriety and getting through difficult things. And you know, I certainly, that's why I can't believe that Virginia Giuffre unalived herself. I really do think that there was something more to it. Somebody wrote something about things being re-released. I don't know. I feel like she had been through so much that like there was no stopping her. Oh, well, we know about this. Do you see this?
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, that kid, if you saw the picture of him, he's the type of kid who's going to have to take it. Nobody's giving it out to him. Just look at him.
Yeah, but you don't take it.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the only way he's getting it. So he figured he'd take it and Dad would get him out of it.
And Dad did.
That's his mentality. Yeah, and I can
did.
bet money that he did. But how embarrassing for Mr. Acquittal. It happened in his home.
Oh, it happened inside of his home.
Yes. Yeah, in Mr. Acquittal's home. That's embarrassing, right? And I knew the two other kids. One was a neighbor.
You had told me that.
And one was the brother of a friend of Brianna's. So I kind of, and the one kid, so we have Mr. Acquittal, his son, and then the other kid's father was a Monroe Township police officer. And then the other kid's father was just nobody with the title to speak of, but the neighbor, our neighbor who was involved, the kid was always so quiet and never, Brianna and Nicole played with him as children, neighborhood children, never would have suspected he'd be involved in something like that. That was a shock to me, but listen, I'm not judging. I just think, wow.
Yeah, you don't know who. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Stuff happens. Like I said, attorneys' kids can commit crime. They can turn to drugs. They can be alcoholics. Nobody is exempt. Drug addiction or crime doesn't discriminate. I don't care who you are in life. Oh, we got somebody.
This is Rachel. This is the woman that didn't show her face before, but we see her now.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm not a tech person. Forgive me.
Neither are we.
I'm definitely not.
Oh my goodness. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous.
That's okay. Nobody's looking.
Oh my gosh. My TV's
You're
right
fine.
there.
You're fine.
Okay. I'm just wondering where my eyes are looking anyway. Good morning. I'm from Alaska, so I was listening to you as I was waking up, and I thought, "Oh, I could share my story. It might help some people." And so I jumped up.
Okay, please. Yes.
Yeah, so I come from, well, the addiction part of it is, you know, I definitely have addictive tendencies. I'm completely addicted to nicotine. I know what it feels like in the body, right? But my story really stems from an emotional place, and that's kind of where I'd like to get Rebecca's take on this because um, so for 35 years I've been married to a narcissistic husband, covert narcissist, and after about, I'd say, 10 to 15 years, I started coping by drinking. And I never became physically addicted. Like, I didn't have the cravings, right? I didn't have certain things, but I drank plenty to where I ended up in the hospital.
Mm.
Doctors said I should have been dead many times over. Um, my kids watching me being taken away by, paramedics. I mean, just the whole 9 yards, me drunk calling other people, whining, crying because my life was so pathetic, that type of thing.
Right.
And then the shame that comes with that when you can't, live with the shame of that. And also another aspect of mine that I wanted to touch on, and because I know Xanax is a big thing. Um, because of my relationship, and I also stemmed from childhood a little bit, I had a panic thing, but through my marriage, when my second child was about 4, I started getting in, or I stayed in my house for 6 years. I couldn't leave. So I eventually was prescribed Xanax, and she had me on it for 12 years, and I was on 3 milligrams a day. And at that time, to me, it was my miracle drug. And, and I tried to get off of it by myself, and I didn't know, and it was a therapist who prescribed it.
Mm.
And so I had a seizure. I almost died from that. I had to go into treatment. I didn't realize that. I mean, I was taking it as prescribed for the most part. So anyway, that's basically my story in a nutshell. So I still definitely struggle with being still with my husband. Like, if something happens, the mental aspect, I can automatically go, "Oh god, I need that bottle of vodka," right? I
Mm.
don't do it right now, but, like, the last time was, like, say, 6 months ago, but it's there.
Right.
So, it's not a physical thing, and that's really hard to kinda explain to people. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense to anybody. I feel like
No,
I just
no,
kinda rambled. I'm sorry. I haven't even
no, you're
had
good.
my
You're good.
my morning coffee.
I
Yeah.
I think I share a lot with a lot of people on other shows and things, but I am on a lot of medications due to trauma. And Xanax is one that's prescribed to me. And the funny thing is, the last time I took one was August 2nd. And I know that because that was a sentencing date for a murder trial that I was involved in. And just having that bottle of Xanax is all I
Yeah.
need to talk myself out of, like, going over the edge and being crazy. Um, I guess in a sense, I have an addictive personality, like with my coffee, things like that, but never for a substance, a drug or alcohol. But for me, just knowing I have that bottle of Xanax and I could take it if I really need it helps me. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people too, but it does help.
You've
That
shared that
doesn't
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound crazy to me. I used to just having it, just that mere thought of having it. It was like a friend, it was just like
Yeah.
you knew that if that happened, if that, yeah, I get that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, it's funny because the doctors, I have to see my psychiatrist. Well, it's supposed to be monthly, but I have the need, to see him every 2 weeks. And, he'll say, "Do you need a refill?" And when I tell him no, with the Xanax, he's shocked because he expects that I'm going to be taking it several times a day. And I said, "No, I see that bottle sitting there and I just have to look at it. Sometimes I'll pick it up and touch it in my hands and I'm good." I don't have to take one.
Right.
And I'm not going to say, they probably think I'm crazy. They know I am, so I wouldn't be seeing them. But, you know, it's odd that I don't feel the need to take it. You know, it's just knowing that it's there helps me. So that's just my story. But I know other people would take it, you know, and it depends on every person's different and how they react to things, you know. And I'm the type who I think about it and say, well, if I take it, I know it's going to make me feel like this, but you know, that helps me just knowing that it could take me out of whatever I'm in, you know, and so then I don't take it because I don't want to be addicted to that. I have too much going on, you know.
And that shows just how much control you have over your own life. You know,
Right.
I think that shows, you know, your autonomy. Definitely. You know,
I mean, don't
that's what
get
I
me
think.
wrong. During all of what we've gone through, and I know some of these people don't know my story, and I'm not going to go into it here because that's not what we're here for today. But everything that we've gone through, there were times when I thought, well, if I took all of these, I wouldn't have to worry about this. But then I won't be here to fix this problem and fight for the justice and, you know, and save other kids and people. You know, there were times I thought, I don't want to wake up, but I didn't do it. Obviously, I'm still here, but it would have been easy, you know, to do that. I had the medication that would have made that very easy for me, but I chose not to. I knew that there was something else I needed to fight for. So I'm still here, you know.
If this person wants Lulu, if you want to email me that, because I don't like links, and I don't want anybody thinking that I co-sign anything that, you know, I just don't co-sign. I'm not trying to be mean. I have companies asking me about doing products and stuff, and I just won't do it unless I'm trying their product, and I just haven't found a product that I'd be interested in trying. So if you want to go ahead and send me the email, here's a person that wants to know, reach out to Natalie. You know, so I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't. But Natalie might be interested. I'm not trying to be funny. Anyway, because I don't even know what it is. So anyway, let's continue onward. I'm sorry. So this person wrote, I had to take Xanax after surgery for claustrophobic problems while in the hospital. Made me feel like I was on a hamster wheel looping over and over. Well, that's a weird side effect. I've never heard of that side effect. I want to know about Klonopin. I want to know what that effect is because I'm curious.
See, that's what they gave me to get off of Xanax.
Does it make you high?
You know, it just, all I remember feeling was a lesser relaxed state that Xanax gave me. Like Xanax took the panic away in a sense.
Right.
The Klonopin didn't do that, but you knew you had something. You know, I don't know if it was even mind over matter in a sense with Klonopin.
Right.
That was my experience because, you know, like I said, going from 3 milligrams, you know, that's quite a lot. So
I don't think 3 milligrams is a lot. I mean, am I wrong? Because I don't like those Xanny bars. Aren't they like 5 milligrams each? And there are people that take like a whole bar. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I can't get into that shit. Like that's something I'm not.
You can take more.
I think it's stronger than diazepam. I think diazepam is Valium. I don't think it's the same thing because I could take Valium and I cannot take the Xanax. So I don't take either. But I took Valium for going into an MRI, a closed MRI for claustrophobic reasons. And there was plenty of room in the MRI. I didn't even need it, but I had already taken it. And then later on in life, I took a Xanax, and it was 2 totally different things. So I disagree with that. But
I've never had Klonopin. I've only had Xanax, so I can't really comment on what that does. I know people that do take Klonopin, but I have no clue what it does.
Somebody's saying here that if you take too much, it's like taking a Xanax.
Oh, so you can abuse it, obviously, like any
drug.
Oh,
Anything could be anything could be abused for sure, right? Xanax causes amnesia. So does alcoholism sometimes.
Yeah.
So Lunar's saying that she takes 4 milligrams. Yeah. Okay. So it's the weakest one. Okay. So I believe that. And that was something I could tolerate. The Xanax, I couldn't. I'm grateful I'm not on. And they all mess up my stomach, to be honest with you. But everyone's chemicals composition is different. Absolutely.
Right.
So somebody's saying this about that. What do you say about that, Rachel? Is that true? Is that the way you think? Or do you have any say so about that?
About what? People's compositions?
No. The comment
Uh,
that I posted
the
up that 0.5 milligrams of Klonopin is like 110 milligram Valium. It's that much
Well,
stronger.
that
Oh
I
my
that
goodness.
I don't remember the dosage of Klonopin I was given, and I know they even prescribed it for a while. I've taken 10 milligrams of Valium, and I would just go to sleep with that.
Yeah.
So to me, in my system, Klonopin acted like Xanax, but just on a very small scale.
Hmm.
Like I would have to take more Klonopin to feel what a Xanax felt like, and then they weren't even comparable feelings, but and I did there were days I took more than 3, but then at 3 milligrams, but on a bad day, but then there were days I'd try to cut it back. So it's not that you can't take more and that people don't, but you
Right.
shouldn't. And my thing is I
Right.
didn't know it. Like I used to say, I really called it my miracle drug. I used to say that I could just see myself taking it for life because it took away my panic,
All the bad stuff. All the bad stuff.
well, yeah, it made life livable for me. I could go out and check my mailbox, for example. I mean, simple things. And so, like when I got off it, I had to carry around cold, wet paper towels to shock my system because I didn't have the Xanax to calm me. I had to do something different.
Right.
And so it wasn't until I got off and they told me the reality of long-term Xanax abuse, right? Like long-term on it.
How long were you on it before they told you about the long-term damage?
12 years. I was prescribed by a therapist, and then I went to Texas. I actually went to see if I could get treatment for alcohol, and they wouldn't treat me for it because they didn't see it as alcoholism. But then I had a seizure because I was getting myself off of Xanax. I was so tired of being on it. And also speaking of that, I couldn't heal. There was no healing when your brain is that numb. You can't heal. So a therapist prescribing you that, it's like no wonder I was still going on the roller coaster I was. But anyway, I had a seizure and ended up in the hospital, and that's
Right.
when they would treat me, is for the Xanax. And so it was scary because I didn't know.
Wow.
And then my therapist, was only
See,
concerned.
I think that's
That's a
that.
whole
Like,
nother
don't
thing.
you think that at some point somebody within 12 years should have told you about the long-term
Yeah,
effects,
you
the
would think. I was
potential
seeing
long?
one therapist for a traumatic event that had happened, and she immediately prescribed me on Xanax, which I was grateful to her for it, obviously. But yeah, 12 years she had me on it. And she knew about my alcohol usage. I
Wow.
saw her. I
Wow.
saw her a couple times a week. I mean, and then when I went to treatment, I was honest with the treatment center because you want to get better, you have to be honest. And so uh, I remember talking to my therapist, and she was just concerned that I had told them, and so there was no more therapy with her, like none. And I tried to request my records, and she would not give them, and I could have maybe gone further and gotten them, I'm sure, but I just
Yeah,
never
they're
did.
your records.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean,
but
they
I
are
just
your
never did.
records.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, so
Toddy, I'm
it was.
seeing a lot of talk about gabapentin in the chat. And I'm wondering, because I don't know the answer to this, but I remember when Gino would come out of like a rehab facility, he would get this massive, prescription for gabapentin. And I never understood why is he on gabapentin? What did they give him that for? 900 milligrams a day or something? Is that a normal thing to be prescribed coming out of rehab? Does anybody know that? Anybody in the
So
chat?
here's I am on gabapentin for nerve pain, so it's my understanding
Me too, but I'm
that
wondering, you know,
that's what it's for. However, I don't use it as I'm reading stuff about dementia and all that shit coming on in the
right.
chat, and I don't use it as much as I use other pain meds, but I find the other pain meds more effective with ibuprofen, to be honest with you. So I don't know. Here they're saying gabapentin can be used for anxiety as well. I would assume. Let's look it up. Let me look it up. We'll answer this once and for all, Rebecca Micciolo. Let's
Yeah,
see.
it's just I'm curious why, you know, recovering addicts are prescribed it. You know, I know why I take it for nerve pain and nerve issues, but
Right.
I remember Gino, way before I was taking it, Gino would come out of rehab and he would have all this gabapentin, and I just didn't understand it.
So it may treat weakness, numbness, and pain from nerve damage, usually in the hands and feet. I have mine right here. Maybe that's why it doesn't really. Persistent pain that lasts weeks to years. So this is saying that this is something I guess you can continue to use. Restless leg syndrome. A chronic pain condition affecting the triangular nerve in the face. So that goes for me. Fibromyalgia. Um, Spinal stenosis, the spaces inside the bones of the spine get too small. That's what's going on with my neck. I don't see anything here where it says anything about there is nothing here about anxiety. I'm reading it. It's not the side
Hey,
effects.
Toddy, real quick, I want to interrupt. My friend is in the chat finally, but how do we get her to come on and tell her story? She's like me. We can't comprehend how to do these things. So can you put the
And
link
I
up
can
one
hop
more
off
time?
too if I can hop off. I just wanted to, yeah, I was just trying to touch base on that
Rachel, I'm
mental
glad you
versus
came on.
physical.
You are always welcome to come on. That's what this is
Yeah.
about. Please
Well, I
understand.
appreciate that.
That's what
Yeah,
this is about.
I think in my thing, I think I've struggled with that whole mental versus physical because I've been, you're an alcoholic, but then it's like, okay, well, if I am, that's fine. I'm not against it, right? Like, but where do I get that mental to stop? Because it's not the physical that grabs me, it's that mental. And how can, so that's where I'm at. So
I
I
think
don't
that's a
live.
matter of like retraining. I mean, I'm not a counselor anymore and I don't practice, but you have to, I think, you know, so I used to smoke cigarettes, right? And I mean, like, and I smoked, I really didn't smoke that much as much as I had the cigarette in my hand, you know what I'm saying? But I was a smoker, and the hardest part about giving it up was how does my life work without it when it's always been so much of a part of it? And I had to be smarter than the addiction. So I said, okay, I've tried to quit several times. I was successful for a year and then I went back to it even stronger, which usually it happens. So I said, okay, well, I love to smoke. I'm never going to say I don't love to smoke. And perhaps one day I will smoke again, but not today. So I use the same thing. But then, like, I have these fake cigarettes. There's nothing in this. This is air. Okay. But I mean, it's here because there's still times that I need it. But when I even stopped smoking and I just went to these air things, I treated it the same exact way as if it was a cigarette. Like, I only smoked in the master bathroom of the house. So that's where I would smoke. You know, I mean, I treated it exactly the same way. And so I think that mental, you just have to be smarter than your addiction, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it totally does, and I think that's almost with anything, really, right? I mean,
And don't lie
I
to
also
yourself. If it's something that you love, I mean, don't lie to yourself and be like,
right,
yeah, I
no,
hated
no, no,
that,
no, I see, the thing is, no, because I'm right there with you with nicotine. I struggle with it. My mom died of lung cancer, and I still struggle with it. So I get that one. That's a physical one. Think I'm saying, like, I'm doing really well now, but when that mental, if something happens and I can't deal mentally, then my first coping mechanism, the thought is that bottle, and without really going through the repercussions of it. That's what I'm saying. Like, the difference between a physical urge where everyone where you hear in the, they
you
have
get
to
sick and stuff,
take
right?
it day by day, minute by minute, and sometimes I do have to do that if something in my environment isn't right. So that's just the difference. I just wanted to bring that up just in case there were other people out there that kind of struggled, that had that piece.
I
So,
appreciate
I
that.
appreciate you letting me on.
Of course, of course. We appreciate you coming on. So,
Definitely.
okay,
Thank
so we'll see you next time, and hope that you will, anytime you want to come up, just give us a yell.
Thank you, Toddy. I watch you all the time. I love watching you.
I appreciate that so much.
Right.
I do appreciate that. So I just want to ask you one question. Is it now, is it light or is it dark out in Alaska now?
It's actually light out. Well, you can't really see it. It's light out now, because now
Okay.
we're gonna go to, too much light, but not ever too much light, in my opinion, but lots of light.
I've
Yeah.
been there. I guess I should have known because I've been there in the summer doing the inward passage,
Oh,
right? Is that the
yeah.
one that goes, I think I went up. So is that the inward or the outward?
You went up to what, Fairbanks, or you went to Juneau? Would
I
you
went on the boat. So I
right.
went, I think I started at Juneau and we went up to well, we went to several places, Saskatchewan, the one that begins with a K, quite a few of Ketchikan.
Ketchikan,
And
yeah.
yeah, like we went to quite a few places. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. Beautiful
Very,
country.
very beautiful. I'm ready to move away just because it's a little too much cold and dark for me, but, it is beautiful. It's beautiful.
I had
Yeah.
a coworker that just moved out there. He used to live there, and then he moved to the East Coast, of the United States, and then he just moved back out there. Absolutely loves it out there. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
appreciate it. It's a little too far out for me, but
Yeah, it's very isolated. Alaska's very isolated. You have to be a real outdoorsy person or love flying, right? Like,
right,
I'm
right.
neither of those things, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you
Alright,
for
well, thank
joining us.
you.
All
Thank
right.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Right. Bye bye. So your friend should get onto this little link we have,
I
and
think
then they,
she's attempted it and I don't know what happened. I don't know if she's still here, but Francine, click on that link if you can and try again. I'm not much help when it comes to this stuff.
yeah, that's all you got to do is click on the link and just be prepared to show your face right away unless you are able to stop the camera. So here's a few things that people are talking about. So there's some concerns here with and somebody screamed that gabapentin is not a narcotic, and I didn't say it was, but it is a controlled substance. In all fairness,
Mm-hmm.
it might not be a narcotic, but it is a controlled substance. And let's be honest, I knew somebody, who got hang on one second. I don't want to ban or kick, but I'm going to close her out. Whoops. I'm not kicking her out. She should never be banned. Rachel, I don't want that. I don't want her to be, okay. There she goes. It felt weird to have somebody down there and not on the panel. I kept looking down at Rachel. So that's the only reason why I moved you off, Rachel. So you got to click on the link, Francine Morales. You have her email address, Rebecca?
I don't. We were just going through Messenger.
Okay, so if you go through Messenger, Is there any way for you to grab the link and put it on Messenger for her so she could grab it off Messenger? I think she's having a problem grabbing it off the
Let me see. You know, Toddy, this isn't my strong point here.
I know, but how about if you email me at toddy1skip@gmail.com? Can you email me at toddy1skip@gmail.com?
Yeah, let me do
And
that.
I'll send it to and I'll send it to her. If she emails me, Francine, if you email me at toddy1skip@gmail.com, I will send you the link that you can click on.
Yeah, do that, Fran. Email Toddy. I can't help. I'm not good at this.
She's no good. She's no good. She's no good. Haha, didn't know I was still there. I'm not. No, Rachel, we're cool. We're cool. I just didn't like somebody's like. I felt weird. It had nothing to do with you. It was just weird to see another person there that was kind of peeking out through my remove sign. That it was just weird. Francine, just email me. Please email me at here. Email me at this address. So if you can email me at this address, you have to show your ID to pick up the prescription in my state too. No worries. I don't think it will allow you to have links, but thank you, Natalie. Thank you. You can absolutely be on prescription gabapentin and be sober. Abusing anything isn't good. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just looked it up and it said what I read to you. So that's cool. You still have to do the Sudafed thing. You still have to show your prescription for Sudafed. Let me see. I don't believe I got anything from your friend here.
Well, I really wish she could come on. I know she has an interesting story to tell. I don't know her whole story, but just a little bit of it. So be nice to hear it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Sorry about that.
You know, Toddy, if, you know, I'm not trying to be picky, but if we could ask the people in chat not to refer to people in active addiction as meth heads or something, I would appreciate that. That's very offensive.
Yeah, well, you have every right to say that too. This isn't my show. This is our show. So I'm all for that. Let's not call people names.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be holier than thou, but it's just not nice because that's somebody's son, daughter, mother, father, sister, brother. That's not cool to do that.
It's really, and it's just as easy if we're not going to offend anybody to just say somebody who's on meth or somebody that does meth.
Yeah, just to you know, I hear the term crackhead often, and that's bothersome to me. You know, I'm not in recovery. I've never had a drug problem, but I just think, you know, my son was an addict, and for someone to refer to him as, you know, a crackhead or something like that, it's very offensive. You know, somebody's child, mother, brother, sister, you know, we have to do better and not, they already, you know, are not feeling great. I don't think we should name call. And I'm not trying to be mean to the person that did it. I'm asking it just to refer to them in a different manner.
So I got an email for you, Rebecca. I'm just going to go ahead. Somebody emailed me.
Okay.
She just asked me if I could forward this to you. So I'm going to forward this to you, Rebecca.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't think this is your friend, though.
Oh,
I think this is somebody else.
Okay.
So I don't know where your friend is.
Yeah, she said she was going to try to email you, so I don't know if she was able to do that or not.
Yeah,
But if we don't get her this week, maybe she can prepare to come on next
yeah,
Monday.
because I could send her the link. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I could send her the link and we could do that because I'm getting ready to close out, to be honest with you. It's
Yeah.
been an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, if she doesn't get on, then we'll
Yeah,
have to plan for next week. But
yeah.
that's fine though. That'll be good. We'll have something planned. But I just want to say it again. If anybody needs to reach out, I'm around. I have a lot of time on my hands, so even if it's just somebody to talk to or look up a phone number for a treatment center or whatever, I mean, I'm here to do that.
There are people there you go. All right. Well, I'm ready to close this out, to be honest with you. I've
Okay.
been up
Yeah.
since about
That's
3
fine.
and still got stuff to do. Okay, Francine said that she sent an email. Hang on. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. And I'll see about getting this lady on. I gotta send me the link first, I reckon.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to talk because I like to talk.
Please, that makes me feel better. Actually, I'm gonna shut this off. People don't need to watch me do this. So
what is everybody's opinion on here about law enforcement and how they, not all law enforcement, but how some law enforcement may treat your loved one who is, I'll say, in crisis? Have you ever experienced law enforcement not being very nice to your addicted loved one? And how do you feel about that? Anybody have any experience with that?
Camera. Once and Lord. Okay, so I did that. She should be able to hop on at some point and be on the board.
Okay.
There's going to be another issue with mental health in the US. Somebody was saying I'm glad. Thank you, Tricky Vicky. They need training. So there's an answer for you.
Yeah.
They need training. Has anybody been, has anybody been, I mean, it's like paying for your past, isn't it? It's like getting pulled over any charges. Well, 10 years ago, maybe a DUI, and all of a sudden you're judged and you have to get out of your car and do a sobriety test where 5 minutes before you didn't appear drunk to them at all. Anything that makes you be treated different because of your past or anything. Prejudge, absolutely prejudge, and by the police. As anybody in authority have like that's what you're asking, right, Rebecca?
Well, yeah, I just wonder if anyone has firsthand seen how some law enforcement treat people with addiction, or even I'll go a step further. In my neighborhood, there's I think he's only about 18 years old now. He was a lot younger when I moved there, but there's this guy that has, he's autistic and among other things has some mental health issues on top of it. And his parents are a little bit older and they have trouble handling him sometimes. And sometimes the police are called because he gets very aggressive. And on this one particular evening, and it's happened several times, but one particular evening, the first time I witnessed it, he was going through one of his episodes, and the police must have been called right before I was pulling in. And I noticed, the mother and father were basically wrestling their son in the grass. And the police officer walks up with her hand on her gun. Now, how do you think
Wow.
this child is going to react to that? He went
Yeah.
nuts. He kicked her in her stomach, the officer. She calls for backup, and they're just manhandling this individual who has no clue what's really going on. And I think that our officers need to have more training on how to deal with special needs and people going through active addiction or withdrawal or mental health issues. I don't think they have enough training, or if they do, they're just not implementing it when they go on a call. And I think that's really sad, because this individual in my neighborhood has an episode probably once every week or two. And I am so tired of witnessing how the officers handle it. It's disgusting. It makes me want to step in and say something, but I have no right. I have called the police department to tell them I think their officers need some more training. Doesn't go anywhere. But I think it's a sad place that we live in right now, that these people who are supposed to help sometimes are more hurtful than helpful.
I agree. I agree. This is something that's very interesting. Did you see what Tricky Vicky wrote here?
Mm-mm. Oh. Oh, wow. Are you talking about the seatbelt thing that she wrote, or?
Yeah. The thing that I put up here. Your friend is going to come next week.
Okay, yeah, it's a little late, but that'll be great. At least we'll be prepared next week.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I will send the link to Francine next week.
Wonderful. That'll be great. That'd be
And
wonderful.
usually I send it around no later than Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Usually send it around Sundays.
Yeah.
So, and you could reach out beforehand, and you could get on YouTube, Francine, and just look at, how you would, shut off your camera. If you want to shut off your camera like I have, it's just stop cam. That's all it is. It's just one little switch. That's it.
Yeah.
One little button there. And, anyway, or I'm ready to call it. And, there's a few people. We need to write topics down so that we get them earlier, because there's a lot of people responding to this one.
Yeah, I know. I tend to go off topic, but somehow I feel like a lot of this stuff is related.
No, it is.
I guess we're so used to law enforcement responding to a burglary, a car accident, but these are real life things that also happen, and they need to be trained in more than how to write a ticket or do a DUI field investigation or whatever they want to call it, field sobriety thing. They need to have some training to deal with these real life issues that a lot of us have. And,
right.
It's not always about having your hand on your gun when you're approaching someone who's clearly in a state, not a threat to, he's not robbing a store, he's just not there mentally. And putting your hand on your gun and walking towards him aggressively, I just stood there like, I'm not an officer, I'm not a mental health specialist, but I know enough that that's not the way to approach that person. So our officers need to be better trained. And I'm not just talking about addiction and mental health issues, but also how they handle welfare checks for child abuse victims. You know how I feel about that, Toddy. My grandson was failed numerous times, where law enforcement, I feel, could have done more. And that's a whole different subject. But yeah, I'm glad I brought this up. And maybe it is something, maybe we won't just talk about addiction, but we can talk about other things if you're up for it, next week.
Well, yeah, I think so. Absolutely. And I think your friend will join us next week too.
Right.
And,
yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great.
And anybody that, wants to join, or anybody that catches this on the replay, you could reach out to me at toddy1skip@gmail.com and just say that you want to be on the panel next week. Or you could reach out to Rebecca Micciolo3 at gmail.com. And thank you so much, new member. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Very good.
So we appreciate so much. Oh yeah, please like, subscribe, and share, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, Toddy,
Somebody wrote,
I'm very thankful to you, Toddy, for allowing me to be on here with you. Like I said, it's
well, it's our
therapy.
show. It's our show. It's not just me and it's us. It's our
Well,
show.
I appreciate you nonetheless. I
Well, I
just,
appreciate you as well.
you do wonders for me. You inspire me to want to do things. I
That
watch
makes
you.
me feel really good.
I try to catch every live that you do, but I'm not always present, but I try, and I just have so much respect for you. And I
Thank you
really
so much.
appreciate.
That means so much to me. That means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
very welcome. But I will see you next week.
Definitely. And I look forward to it.
All right. And again,
And
if
I'm here
anybody,
if you need for anything, beforehand or anything, I'm right here.
thank you. And just let everybody know if they need to reach out for anything, I'm around. So I'm here.
Absolutely, guys. Rebecca Micciolo3@gmail.com.
Thank you.
All
Have a
right,
good
you're
day,
welcome.
Toddy.
You too. Take care of yourself. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. All right. You good?